Hello, my name is Carl, and this is my backyard. So welcome to Carl's Backyard. Only this isn't my backyard. This is not at all my backyard. It'd be cool if this were my backyard. However, this is the Big River in St. Francis State Park in Missouri, which is in fact where I'm at, not my backyard at all. But it has just recently stopped raining. We came down to see how high the river is, and now I've seen how high the river is. Higher than it was last time I was here. That's how high it is. There was a good deal more rock bank over there the last time I was here. The river's probably a foot and a half higher than it was last time. But it's late. It did just finish raining. I'm going to head back to camp.
And just for perspective, I'm filming from this little bank right there on the river. My campsite is right here next to that driveway. The trail between the two runs a little something like this. And it comes out right there where there's a road. It leads right there, obviously. That's all there is to it.
This is the trail from the river back to camp. It's actually like a 2-3 minute walk from our campsite because we camp at the very edge of the campground, right next to the head of this trail. This just twists through the woods here alongside the river and then around this tree that fell. And this giant tree, look at this giant tree. Oh, that's one big tree. And it goes up and up and up and up and up. And now I'm sure the color's all gone. There we go. There's a handful of these giant trees out here. And for the most part, they're medium sized or smaller. And every once in a while, you get one of those giant trees like that.
There's the trail. And of course, it just rains, so my camp was getting soaked walking along the trail.
Now I'm wondering if I didn't take the wrong trail. I don't remember it being quite this crowded. They're dense on the way back. And I'm supposed to be over there a little bit, I think.
I think I took a wrong turn. Let me see, is this correct? It does not. Because I can almost see, I don't know if you can see out of here. I can see the lights in the campground over there. And this trail seems to be edging along the river. I think I got a little sidetracked by that giant tree. That giant tree. The giant tree sidetracked me. I went the wrong way around it. I don't remember stepping over this far along. I'm way right there. Okay. Now it's lost. Oh, here we go.
There we are. There's the trail I'm supposed to be following. It was just that little cut, just going around that little branch. It's right over there, trail. And then I veered, went around the branch, saw the giant tree, and just kind of kept walking that way.
There's another giant tree closer to the water. I think it's that one there. I didn't want to side that one. Thought it was the same tree. It's good thing I'm not like lost out here or anything. Here's the trail supposed to be on. Totally different trail than the one I was on. That cuts off. There's a hiking trail not too far off that way. There's a little cut connection. Coming along here. And you can see it's kind of opening up there at the end. As you walk through the woods. And as I said, it just went a lot, so around the puddle. We'll get just as wet going.
I believe it is done. Now we're just waiting for Aaron to get back so we can set sail on the high seas.
I want to do it.
Well, you should probably wait until after we check it just to make sure we don't get out there and sink.
So Aaron and I put our boat in the water about here. At which point, everybody else who was there to swim in the river realized that we hadn't, told them what the plan was. We just jumped in the boat and headed off down the river. And we sailed, or floated, down the river. And I'm doing a horrible job of tracing this. These sandbars pretty much weren't there. At one point, the sandbars definitely weren't there. There was a tree with a rope hanging from it somewhere around here. There's a giant tree with a rope out in the middle of the river, and we stopped. I held position in the middle of the river for about 5-10 minutes while Aaron swung on the rope. Then he climbed back in the boat. The river was waist steep at the most on him there, and we continued on down the river. And that was probably the last time I actually had control of the boat, other than keeping us in the middle of the river. We continued on down the river, and again, sandbar not there. Sandbar not there. The river just kept getting wider and wider and wider, and it didn't occur to me at the time that the reason the river was getting wider was because the river was getting higher and higher and higher. And at some point in here, everybody was back swimming in the river where we had left them. They got flooded out. That entire sandbar beach area that they were in got flooded. The river came up probably 2 feet while we were out here on it. And I wanted to pull over. My original plan was that we'd get off here at the creek. Let's pull into the creek. I know there's a big area down here where we could get out of the water. There was an overpass here, so we were close to the road in case you weren't able to raft back up, and it became obvious at some point that we weren't going to be rowing back up the river. So I was trying to get into this creek, and that simply did not work out. I did, however, manage to plow through the top of the grass and reeds and trees, or whatever it was, growing on the sandbar. We shot straight across the river. Did manage to get off here because the river curves back around this way, and it makes a hard turn here. It was kind of a lee area behind it where the current wasn't that bad. But I saw a big boulder and just started rowing for all it was worth. Aaron was reaching out, doing the breaststroke off the front of the boat, and we shot straight across the river to a rock where we got out of the river, grabbed the boat, scrambled up a trail. There was a picnic table here where we stopped and readjusted the grab line around the boat so that we could carry it. And that's when I realized that Aaron didn't have sandals or shoes, and we were going to be walking on pavement the rest of the way back. So that kind of bummed for him. Did walk so that he got to walk in the grass on the shoulder, and I walked in the street until the shoulder turned into gravel, and then we swapped back and he had to walk on the hot road again. But we hiked the boat back here. Figure we canoed or rowed or sailed or floated about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles down the river, and then this hike back along the road, probably 1 mile, is about what we scaled out. I didn't think to measure it while we were there. And here's the turn into camp, and we shot past here, and right about here's where we ran into Cameron, who informed us that we were in trouble because while we were off having fun exploring the river, Mom, put in red, and everybody over here had gotten flooded out rather rapidly, and the river came up real fast, and she became concerned because we didn't take her phones because we didn't want them to get wet. And so we couldn't call her, and she couldn't call us, and there was no calling involved. So she was doing this loop here where there's all the little picnic areas off to the side here, and then little cuts down to the river. There's probably a dozen of them along this stretch of road where you can pull over. They got picnic tables under the trees, and there's the bank down to the river. It's got trails through it, and then just sandbars so people can go and hang out and play down on the river. And she was doing that loop there. She did at some point come up to here where we got out, but she apparently missed us on the road. We had either not gotten there yet or gotten past that, because she went up to the bridge here, turned around here, and came back and was doing that loop again when we called her. So yeah, that happened. It was rather exciting. Consumed most of the not raining time that day as well. Moral of the story is don't go floating down a river after it's been raining all morning and the day before and half the day before.